Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 22nd Lebanon City Council meeting. The first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to the roll call of members. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilman Kincaid.
Present.
Councilman Campbell.
Here.
Councilman Coots.
Here.
Councilman Robertson.
Here.
Councilman Copeland.
Here.
Councilman Lamar. Absent. Councilman Fleming.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council. All right, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from our December meeting. Remember that was?
11.
December 11th. We have motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Okay, and the first item up we have tonight is, since this is the first meeting of the new year, Councilman Copeland, you served your time as council president last year, and thank you for that. And so now it's time to elect a new council president for 2018. Are there any motions from the floor?
I'll make a motion we select Councilman Keith Campbell as president of the council.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Mo.
Motion and a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Election of council president Campbell is approved.
Congratulations.
Would you like to give a speech, sir, or?
No.
You're good? Okay.
That's fine.
All right, with that, we'll move on to, is there any old business come before the council? And it's a new year, so no old business. With that, we'll move on to new business. And the first item up we have here is Resolution 2018-01, which is an additional appropriation, and I'll turn it over to Clerk Treasurer Thayer to introduce this.
Thank you. This is Resolution 2018-01, and this is to appropriate funds for the East Street Sidewalk Project. Following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of Fund 950, which is the special Lowit distribution, the 25% portion. The amount is $460,450.04.
And just to clarify for those watching at home and in the audience tonight, this was more of a cleanup from last year, kind of explain, because you want to explain kind of what happened?
Well, right. In May of 2017, the council made a motion that we would take the special distribution money, which was, the total of it was actually $557,450.04. We paid a portion out of that of $97,000 to Borshop for the rebranding, and that left a balance of this $450.04. And so that remainder went to the East Street project. That wasn't the entire East Street project. The balance of that came from food and beverage in the amount of $191,718.96.
So just to clarify, it's not new money, it's just appropriating the money towards the project that we already did last year. So just wanted to clarify, we're not actually spending $460,000 tonight.
No, it's already there.
Yeah. Any further questions, comments from council?
No, sir.
Councilman Fleming?
Was that sent out in the
Pull it down. No one can hear you.
Was that sent out in the ordinance type format for review?
It was.
Yes.
It was emailed to you, but actually earlier.
It was probably
late last year.
December.
Yeah.
Oh, last year.
Yeah.
What it is now. I remember looking at it.
Yep. There you go.
Okay.
Any further questions, comments? Any public questions, comments? Okay. Would entertain a motion concerning Resolution 2018-01.
I'll make a motion we approve Resolution 2018-01, additional appropriations.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion a second. All those further discussion? Corey, you had a kind of a puzzled look on your face?
Just to confirm, there was no public hearing on this, correct?
No, because it's additional proof through DLGF. Yep. Motion a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution 2018-01 passes unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, next up is Ordinance 2018-01, which is text amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance concerning driveway widths, definitions, and permitted uses. I'll turn that over to Ben Bontrager, Planning Director, to explain this one.
Good evening, council members. Just thought I'd start off the new year with a couple of text amendments to the UDO. A couple of things have been hanging out there. We had some inquiries and/or projects that this would positively impact by the change, and these are changes that I was looking at in some way, shape, or form anyway when we would do some larger text changes to the UDO later this year after the comprehensive plan is updated. So given that there were a couple of projects hanging out there that this impacted, felt like we would go ahead and do some minor text amendments now in order to impact those projects and let them move forward. So just kind of walking through real quickly what these changes are. The first is a change to residential driveway widths, and this is something that I know a number of communities have looked at over the years as three-car garages become more popular in some cases where you have a front-facing three-car garage. A lot of folks are asking to allow the pavement to come straight out to the property line, whereas right now, right now we require driveway width of the property line to be no wider than 20 feet, which would require that driveway to taper back. Causes some issues with accessibility to that third bay in the garage. So what we've proposed here is that maximum driveway width of the property line shall be 20 feet. Where there is a property width that is at least 100 feet or more, we would permit that driveway width to be expanded up to 30 feet when there is a front-facing three-car garage. So that would be the change there is with a front-facing three-car garage and a property at least 100 feet wide, we'd allow up to 30 feet width at the property line. So that would be the proposed change there. And then the second, there's a number of minor changes that were made, but it all relates back to addressing the fact that right now, light manufacturing is not a permitted use by right in the city in any of our zoning districts, which I was a little bit concerned about when we have some of our competitive projects coming in. They're looking at levels of risk associated with the project, and while this is a small one, with the fact that a light manufacturing use being conditional in our industrial zoning district, there's just an additional layer of risk and time associated with approvals that many of our neighboring communities don't have. So that puts us at a slight disadvantage on competitive industrial projects. Light manufacturing uses are typically all internal. There's no adverse effects, no sound, light, smells, etc. So it's all entirely enclosed, contained use, but which typically would be permitted in our industrial zoning classification. So that's the proposed changes here. What I did is our definitions right now included warehousing and distribution facilities in our light manufacturing definition. So I actually took that out and have a separate definition for manufacturing for warehousing and distribution, as well as a separate line on the use table for those uses. Change the definitions up a little bit, and then now light manufacturing and warehousing distribution facilities are permitted in PBI and ID zoning districts. So our industrial zoning classification, those uses are permitted. So the changes were made to the use table, to the definition sections, and then for each one of the zoning classifications in Chapter 4, I added those uses to permitted and the list of uses. And then in the case of general industrial, I also added heavy manufacturing to conditional uses. For some reason, it wasn't in that list and should have been, so I made that change as well. So that, in general, explains those changes that have been proposed, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Yes, sir?
One about the driveway.
Yeah.
So the lot has to be 100 feet wide.
It has to be at least 100 feet wide.
And the expanded driveway has to be 30 feet from the edge.
No, it just would allow it to be at least the actual driveway width itself to be as much as 30 feet if
Correct.
you have it. So, but there's no requirement as far as separation from property lines other than what may already be in the ordinance.
What if they only have a two-car garage, but they want a 30-foot drive?
It would require a variance at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, because we define it has to have 3 bays. To have the
That are
30 foot.
street frontage as
Yes.
well. So if
Yes.
they have a side-facing 3-car, they would also not be permitted a 30-foot.
That's correct.
Ben, what if their lot size is more than 100 feet?
As long as it's a minimum of 100 feet or greater, they would, and have a third bay garage, they could have a 30-foot wide driveway.
Okay, I go back to Mike. They have a two-car garage, 120-foot front, and they want to add that third, but they don't have a garage.
They would need to request a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals. So in this case, you're only permitting the additional width if they have a three-car garage. So if they're wanting a wider driveway just to be able to park an additional car there or something like that, it would require a variance.
And the surface type is addressed elsewhere, correct?
Yes, it is. Concrete or asphalt, I think, is permitted.
What's that do to those that have, somewhere I know we've got an ordinance against motorhomes or something parking along the home, but I know we have that.
Yeah,
in some areas.
that is still not permitted, so.
Still not permitted,
Yeah.
but let's say they got a lot of a 120-foot lot, and they'd like to put that third drive in so they could park that motorhome there or something.
Well, they
if
can't
put that
put
third
the-
drive in there, they're gonna,
Well, they can't put the third drive and let's say have a third bay.
Yeah, so if they're doing it for that, they'd request a variance, and certainly we would ask them the use and make sure that everybody's aware of the requirements for parking of commercial vehicles or recreational vehicles, so, yeah.
What was the vote in the planning commission for this?
This was 7-0, brought it to you with a favorable recommendation.
Okay. Any further questions from Ben?
No, sir.
Questions, comments from the public? Are there any hesitations from council we couldn't move this forward tonight? Or would you rather have two readings on it? Is there any, from your, are there any?
Emergency for this, Ben?
There is not necessarily a critical timing issue. There is a project that would be impacted positively by the change in the zoning, the permitted uses. If it had to go to the first meeting in February, that's not going to necessarily change their schedule. This is more of a show of good faith to them. We're working with them to make the project happen.
I would suggest that we not do 2 readings.
Okay, that's fine. I agree. Okay. Well, with that, then we'll have our attorney, Chris, read that on first reading then for us. Yeah, just hit highlights.
So yes, this is, again, ordinance number 2018-02, whereas the City of Lebanon Plan Commission initiated and proposed an ordinance amending the text of the Unified Development Ordinance of the City of Lebanon.
I'm sorry, 01. Print off the old version. Sorry.
Excuse me, 01.
Ordinance 01.
And whereas pursuant to the Indiana Code, the City of Lebanon Planning Commission conducted the required public hearing, and they determined its favorable recommendation on the 16th day of January 2018 by a 7-0 vote, and thereafter certified its recommendation to this legislative body, Common Council, on the 18th day of January 2018. Additionally, whereas pursuant to the Indiana Code, the Common Council of the City of Lebanon has considered the proposed text change amendment along with the recommendation of the City of Lebanon Plan Commission and does now adopt the amendment and approves this ordinance amending the text of the Unified Development Ordinance. All is hereafter set out.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, ordinance is read on first reading, and we will take that up at our next council meeting on February 12th. All right, next item up we have is Resolution 2018-02, which is a resolution of the City of Lebanon approving an interlocal agreement between the City of Lebanon and the town of Whitestown regarding the maintenance and use of the fire training tower. Unfortunately, Chief Batts is not be able to with us tonight due to a large apartment fire that they're currently working. Just to hit the highlights for everyone, what this is really just the training tower, fire training tower has really become a county asset for all of our fire crews and EMS units from all the different cities and towns around Boone County that we all collectively work together. Currently, it is leased by, the property is actually leased from the county by the Boone County Emergency Management, and then we constructed the tower upon it starting back in the early 2000s. So since then, we've applied for grants and other communities have contributed money. They've built it up over time. And this is, today is just approving an agreement between the city and Whitestown that we can work together, and they're willing to contribute to the improvement of the tower itself. The contribution is the amount of $3,000 a year for the next 4 years. So it's a total of $12,000 towards the benefit of the tower. It is all deposited into a non-reverting fund, so it can only be used for tower improvements. So we're not using this in our general budget. We then put that interlocal agreement, which has already been approved by Whitestown and was on the believe, early this year. Oh,
20th
excuse me,
December.
last year, 20th of December last year. And so now we're taking it up at our first meeting tonight. So that is the essence of the resolution. Any further questions or comments from council?
Sounds good.
People giving us money, right?
I have a
Yeah.
question. I know this is interlocking with Whitestown. Do we have it with Zionsville as well? Or?
We don't have a physical interlocal agreement. I know from time to time that they will, they get a grant or decide to give us money, they will contribute it to us. And then we've done that in the past, but we don't have a strict interlocal agreement with them.
Yeah, and in talking a little bit with the fire department, so that facility out there has been a huge, huge asset for the area. They've done a number of trainings, both inside the county as well as outside the county. So thanks to the Whitestown team for pitching in on this. There's been a lot of money donated to that facility from a lot of different entities. So Zionsville, while we may not have a specific interlocal, they have chipped in a little bit in the past, as well as I think Advance has thrown some money out there, and Thorntown possibly as well. So it's been a great facility.
Yeah, it really has been a community asset for everybody. So, any comments from the public, or do you want to say anything from the Whitestown's perspective? Or? No, no, it's not. But I mean, you're giving us money, so we're okay with it. Yeah. Okay. Would entertain a motion concerning Resolution 2018-02.
I move, no, you can't. I move we approve Resolution 2018-02.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Resolution 2018-02 passes unanimously. All right. That was any other new business come before the council?
Not for me.
Okay. Would any announcements or discussion?
Well, we have a new father that happened since our last meeting. Congratulations to you and your wife.
Thank you, John.
And we have a new addition to the to the mayor,
Yep.
the first lady, the first city lady. So congratulations as well.
Thank
to
you very
and
much.
Your family.
Thank you very much. Okay. With that, we'll move on to claims and would entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve claims.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the claims and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Claims are approved. And would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, John.